Welcome back to my 100-day drawing challenge 2020. Today is day number 16 and the prompt is superhero. As usual, I started by sketching a couple of little things on a separate sketchbook just to thumbnail what I wanted the illustration to look like. I actually wanted to play around with a pose where the character was kind of suspended in the sky, because when I think of superhero I think they can probably fly, right? So I really like drawing floaty poses that don't really have any gravity applied to them, just kind of having someone suspended in air or in water or something like that. I think that those kind of poses are really fun to draw. So that's what I went with this character. I came up with this pose. I also loved the idea of that pose because it meant that I could have her cape behind her flowing around and underneath her, and that block colour in the background would really frame the character. And so I was really excited to do this silhouette. I actually really like this pose and I think it's a little bit different from the other things I've drawn for this challenge, so I'm really happy about that. I actually wasn't 100% sure what kind of colour scheme I wanted to use for this illustration when I started sketching. Last year for the superhero prompt I went with red and blue, like quite primary red and blue, which I think was a really good colour scheme for a superhero prompt, but I wanted to do something a bit different this year, so I didn't just want to copy that colour scheme from last year. So I actually had a little look through the thumbnails of my previous videos from this challenge and decided to base the colour scheme off of colours that I haven't really used yet in the challenge. I think I've been sticking to certain colour schemes a little bit. I've really been enjoying using yellow lately. And also in this challenge I've used a lot of like green and brown naturey colour palettes as well. So the one standout colour that I don't think I've used yet in this challenge is purple, so I thought that's perfect. I'll just theme the whole character around the colour purple. It actually took me a little bit of time to decide what kind of colour palette I wanted to use for this, so I was playing with the idea of using red for the cape rather than purple. I coloured a couple of different options just to see which one I liked best. Definitely let me know in the comments which of these colour palettes you think is the best and which one I should have used, or do you like the one that I ended up using? Actually, the finished illustration kind of looks more like a villain's colour palette than a superhero's colour palette. She looks a little bit evil, just based on the colours, because I used this really dark plum purple, which is a beautiful colour, but it kind of ended up where she looked a little bit more like a villain than a superhero, but I don't mind because I still think it's cute. I think she looks really cool, and you know, you shouldn't judge a person based on what colours they choose to wear anyway, so I'm just gonna pretend that is not the case. It's fine. It's fine. I like it. I actually think this one turned out cute. There's definitely little mistakes here and there. Sometimes when I go in with coloured pencil, I am a little bit reckless and it ends up being a little bit messy, and I think that was the case with this one in some areas. I just started throwing the coloured pencil on top of the marker and it ended up a little bit messy in places, like a little bit scribbly. That's totally my fault. Sometimes I just get a little bit impatient and I end up just throwing things onto the page without really thinking about it. So that's definitely something I need to work on. Maybe I need to just pace myself a little bit more with these illustrations rather than trying to rush to get them done. But overall I really like it. I'm so happy that I found an excuse to use a particular marker I have in the colour mulberry. I just think it's a beautiful colour. It's like a purpley pink. It's sort of magenta-ish but with a purple tint, and I used it for the cape. It's just such a pretty colour. I really, really like that colour. I love looking at it, so I knew that I wanted it to be a standout in this illustration. But yeah, overall I like this one. I think it's really cute. I think it's kind of dynamic. I like the pose. I like the colour scheme. Like I said, it's a little bit messy here and there, but you know, no illustration is without fault. But overall I like it. That's all for today. If you're interested, there's a link to the full challenge playlist on screen and in the description. Subscribe if you'd like to keep up with me completing this challenge, and I'll see you tomorrow for another prompt. Take care.